It's another Music Gear Monday. I'm Carl Carell, and today we are talking about traveling, and more specific, traveling with the RX3. So I went from traveling around, being on tour, being on the road with a couple of different groups, and using the CDJs and my mixer, which I had down to a T as far as traveling with. I did a video on that. I'll leave a link in the description below if you have CDJs and you travel with them. Some easy ways to kind of travel with them and cope with having to carry all that gear around. I went from the CDJ3000s to an RX3, just being that the RX3 is a all-in-one unit, making it super easy so I don't have to carry two separate cases for my mixer and my CDJs. I think just traveling with gear in general, you want to do three things. You want to keep that gear underweight so that you can save some money. You want to keep that gear really protected, and you want to keep it light. You want to keep it so that you're not breaking your back carrying in gear, lugging gear around, from state to state, city to city. I feel like with the RX3 in particular, this could help address that. So we're talking about the RX3 today, traveling with the RX3. Initially, I shopped around for a bunch of different cases, and if you're shopping for an RX3 case, there is a bunch of different options out there. Hard cases are kind of where you want to go with your gear a lot of times, just because it feels more protective. You're not worrying about it as much. It's just easy. With the hard cases, you're adding weight. And if you're doing a tour where you're not, on a bus, where you're not driving, if you're doing airlines, you know that weight is kind of the enemy. You don't want to have weight in your gear if you're traveling with airlines, because with weight adds cost, okay? So initially, I wanted to get the Oddessy flight case, and I've had Oddessy flight cases before, for turntables. I initially got them for my CDJs. I bought an XZ actually, and I bought a Oddessy case for that. That thing was enormous and it was heavy as hell. So yeah, flight cases are heavy. They are very protective, probably the most protective thing that you can buy for your gear, so keep that in mind, but they are heavy. So if you're somebody who is traveling, you're driving a lot, you're on the bus a lot, having that Oddessy case can come in handy, and it is probably a lifesaver if you are, just on the road a lot. If you're in the air a lot, that Oddessy case is probably the last thing you want to get. With that being said, I turned to Magma Bags. They make a molded case that's a soft case that fits the RX3 perfectly, and it cuts down on the weight. So with a lot of those Oddessy cases, you're looking at an extra 20 something pounds, all the way to 30 pounds just on the actual case. The RX3 unit's already 28-ish pounds, so you're somewhere around 60 pounds when you add those two together. With the molded case, it's only a couple of pounds. Very, very lightweight. It's molded. It has foam at the top to kind of protect the electronics, so that comes in handy, just kind of padding the top of that case. That's where I've turned. What it's going to do is keep the weight under that 50-pound marker, 40-pound mark that is a lot of different airlines weight limit, to where you have to start paying for that checked bag. They won't allow you to have it as carry-on if it's too heavy. So just keep that in mind. This Magma Bag molded case, this thing keeps it underneath most flight weight limits domestic in the United States. I don't know how it works overseas, but a lot of airlines will allow you to have a free checked bag or a free carry-on depending on the weight limit and the size. Size-wise, you are over carry-on size, but the fact that it is a music instrument, it's a performance instrument, it's something that is considered a music instrument, they'll allow you to actually carry on your RX3. I can't speak the same for like an XZ or anything like that, but the RX3 is small enough where it actually fits in the overhead of most airlines. And I'm speaking for United Airlines, I'm speaking for Delta Airlines, I'm speaking for Southwest Airlines, because those are the three that I've traveled with this RX3. Spirit Airlines, I would imagine that it wouldn't, because those overheads are pretty tiny. Same thing with like Frontier Airlines, their overheads are pretty tiny, so I would assume that they don't fit. But the last thing is you could bridge check your RX3 controller, or even I believe your XZ, just because it's a music instrument. You can carry it all the way up to the bridge and then have it checked, and then they carry it down and put it underneath. It does still come out with all the baggage, so you do have to worry about them throwing your controller. So this is the last thing I'm gonna say. If you have a sticker, a fragile sticker, put on your case ahead of time. So when you go get your bag tag, you ask them for a fragile sticker, a big red sticker that says fragile. Put that on your case if you're gonna bridge check it, and that way they'll at least see the fragile sticker and at least be able to take some caution. And if something does happen to your controller, you can at least say, hey, there's a fragile sticker on there. It shouldn't have been thrown like that. It should have been cared for in a little bit more respect. And you should be able to file a claim from there and, you know, at least get some cost back or get your piece of gear taken care of. And granted, I don't know how long that process takes or whatever. And if you're going through that, I'm sorry, that sucks. But these are the steps you could take to kind of keep that from happening. I keep saying last thing. This is the last thing. So a deck saver is the last component that you want to add to this package here. So this is the lightweight package versus going with something like the Oddessy case or the Pioneer DJ case or whatever third-party case that's out there. Going with this molded case allows you to save weight. It is a lot smaller. It's a lot more manageable. Then you add that deck saver on top. That deck saver is a clear piece of plastic that is fitted perfectly. It's molded. It's cut perfectly for your RX3. Sits right on top. I don't have that with this setup that I currently have. I previously sold an RX3 and I bought a deck saver for it. I should have saved it, but I wanted to hook this guy up so that he can keep his piece of gear safe. So I hooked him up with the deck saver. I'm going to buy another deck saver this week. I recommend getting a deck saver because it does help keep that gear protected. It's basically a piece of plastic, but it keeps all your knobs, your faders from floating all over the place or getting snagged or getting popped off. So definitely look into deck savers. I'll put a link in the description below for that. But yeah, that's how I travel with my RX3, and that is what I recommend traveling with if you're traveling by air to use for your RX3 to get you, from city to city. It's going to save you a ton of money. Think about it this way. If you're paying $60, $50 for a check bag every time you fly, and say you're on a tour and you got 15 different dates and you're going, here, then you're going there, then you're going here, then you have connecting flights. Every single one of those flights, you're going to have to pay $50 or $60 in order to get your piece of gear onto that airline if it's overweight. So keep that in mind when buying some cases. Weight is kind of the enemy of airlines. If you're on a tour bus, perfect. Grab that Oddessy case. That's going to protect you the most, and it actually has a little bit more room to fit cables and different things like that. So keep that in mind. This RX3 molded case does have room for your power cable and an RCA cable. So keep that in mind. There's like a little slot underneath. And then the other hack is using the flat USBs, the ones that are tiny. These little USBs actually allow you so that you can leave them plugged in. You don't have to worry about losing that stick. So I have 2 of them. I leave them plugged in, and everywhere I go, I have those just in case. I also have my regular USBs with sets on them, but this allows you to not have to worry about plugging and unplugging them all the time, or losing a set, losing music, things like that, or having to rebuy sticks every time. So those are some helpful tips. I hope this helps you out if you're looking to travel with your RX3. Yeah, what do you think? What are you using? Is there another lightweight molded case out there that we don't know about yet? Make sure to put it in the comments below. Let me know. Shout out to Crate Connect for sponsoring our videos. Shout out to our sponsors today, Crate Connect Digital Record Pool, providing tons of new music, new releases, hundreds of different genres and chart-topping hits, everything and anything, instrumentals, acapellas, Latin, moombahton, techno, dance hall, even country music. So if you're a DJ and you want to spruce up your music library, this is a great tool to utilize. The price is just right with different options from 30 days, 90 days, and 180 days with high resolution audio. This is a great option for anybody wanting to expand their DJ library. They even have a clothing shop. This one's my favorite. Make sure to hop on over, check out Crate Connect. I will be putting a link in the description below, which will include a discounted price. So make sure to hop on that while it lasts. We have our 100th episode coming up. It's coming up very, very soon. Plan on doing some sort of a giveaway, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Really helps out. That's going to be it for today's Music Gear Monday. I'm Carl Carell. We'll catch you guys here next week. Peace.